we get a chance to see the best players over there, National League, American League, we gotta enjoy it.
The sights, the sounds,
ice cold beer right here.
The smells, the game's best on one field.
I'm so excited to be able to go there.
The Midsummer Classic on Night with the Stars starts now.
It's a night when baseball's best takes center stage. The 85th Major League Baseball All-Star Game, just an hour and a half away.
Fox 17 is your home for Major League Baseball, and we are ready for our Night with the Stars. We are going to be with you for the next hour, taking you through all the angles of tonight's Midsummer Classic.
We've got our own All-Star team ready to take the field tonight. Mitch Vick joins us throughout the night here in the studio.
Anchoring our coverage from outside of Target Field in Minneapolis, where tonight's game is taking place, of course, Steve Ambrose and Jason Hutton. And guys, looks like just the perfect night for baseball.
It's just an absolute fantastic atmosphere in Minneapolis at Target Field. A gorgeous ballpark, a gorgeous night. It has been a gorgeous weekend so far here, outside of a little rain on Monday, but really a fantastic weekend so far, week, I guess you would say, and really fitting because when you think of the professional all-star games, the major professional sports, no disrespect to the NFL Pro Bowl, the NBA and NHL all-star games, the Major League Baseball All-Star Game's the best of the bunch.
It really is. You know, and it comes at a time where there's not a whole lot going on in sports. It's kind of all eyes of the sports world are on the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. The players, I mean, they really do give it their all. They play as hard as they can. They want to win this game.
Because it matters. I mean, this is a game that has weight. This is a game that will determine who has home field advantage in the World Series. It's all based on the outcome of this game. We'll have a little bit more on that in just a bit. But first, let's take a look at the starting lineups. And, of course, we start with the American League. And really no surprise here. Nice touch by John Farrell, the manager of the Boston Red Sox and the American League All-Stars tonight. New York Yankee and Kalamazoo's own, that's Kalamazoo's own, not native, but own, Derek Jeter in his final All-Star game, going to lead off, followed by Mike Trout, Robinson Cano, Miguel Cabrera, the Tigers superstar. He's going to be batting fourth. Joey Bautista will bat fifth. Baltimore Oriole teammates Nelson Cruz, Adam Jones going at it in the 6th and 7th spot. Then Josh Donaldson batting 8th. He's got over 20 home runs. He's hitting the 8th spot.
Good 8-hitter.
And then Salvador Perez is the starting catcher for the American League. Not voted by the fans, replacing Baltimore's Matt Wieters, who is injured, but he is going to bat 9th. And the starting pitcher for the American League, King Felix Hernandez from the Seattle Mariners.
And Felix is, of course, going to go up against this lineup from the National League. Leading off and playing center field, Andrew McCutchen from the Pittsburgh Pirates. He comes into this game red hot, batting second. From the Los Angeles Dodgers right fielder Yasiel Puig. Troy Tulowitzki, who led the fan vote from the National League, will bat third and play shortstop from the Colorado Rockies. Arizona Diamondbacks' Paul Goldschmidt hits fourth and plays first base. Boy, what a show Giancarlo Stanton put on last night in the home run derby. He'll bat fifth and be the DH from the Miami Marlins. Aramis Ramirez will hit sixth and play third base from Milwaukee. Chase Utley of the Phillies bats seventh and plays second base. Jonathan Lucroy from Milwaukee will bat eighth and catch, and batting ninth in left field, Carlos Gomez from the Brewers. And the starting pitcher for the National League, Adam Wainwright from the St. Louis Cardinals.
That's a lot of power at the end of the lineup in terms of Gomez there batting ninth. You know. For the National League. Yeah,
but really this is what it's all about, right? All-star lineups. These are all-star lineups. Both of them are loaded 1 to 9.
Yeah, and that's just the starting lineups. Then you have the 24 reserves, both pitchers and positional players that are in this game. And as we mentioned, this is a game that matters. The outcome of this game determines which league will have home field advantage for the World Series. And we have heard all through this week leading up to this moment, Mike Matheny of the St. Louis Cardinals, the manager of the National League All-Star team, mentioned that it really would have been nice to have home field advantage in the World Series last year against the Boston Red Sox. Both he and American League manager John Farrell talked about that yesterday in the press meeting with the media.
I don't think you can ever underestimate home field advantage in a postseason, certainly a 7-game series. Typically, you're going to go up against an outstanding club, as we did last year in St. Louis. And to have that final game, potentially in your home ballpark, that goes a long way to affecting the outcome.
Likewise, we headed into Boston last year realizing we had our hands full already with a very good team, and anytime you get in front of that home fan base, there's an edge. The statistics show it, but you can sense it in the field. You can sense it as you compete, and it's an advantage I think every team wants to have.
That's the manager's perspective, but what about the players? They're actually the ones that will decide the game, and for the starting pitchers in the game, as we mentioned, Felix Hernandez of the Mariners and Adam Wainwright of the Cardinals, they're unlikely to have a huge impact on who wins. They may, but it certainly doesn't seem to take away from getting that nod.
Aside from having the ability to win 2 World Series with the St. Louis Cardinals, I think this has got to be one of the highlights of my baseball career to this point. Just one of the coolest things I could ever say I did was to start the Big League All-Star game, and I'm just incredibly happy and fortunate to be placed in this situation. I can't wait to go out and hopefully lead our National League squad to a victory.
By the way, John, thank you, man. That's an honor. Just an honor to be here and be part of the July Classic. It's always fun. So I just got to go out there and do what I have to do. Just throw zeros out there to make my team win. That's all I got to do.
This is just going to be so much fun to watch this game. The best of the best going at it. And, of course, we're just getting started with our coverage here at Target Field. When we continue here, we're going to be taking a closer look at the Tigers All-Stars in tonight's game. Miguel Cabrera, as we mentioned, is a starter in this one, but you also have got Max Scherzer and Ian Kinsler in this game. Victor Martinez is here as well, but he's not going to play.
And as we mentioned, it's Derek Jeter's final All-Star game. We caught up with one of his old coaches from when he played baseball back in Kalamazoo. We'll get his reaction and kind of talk about what Derek was like as a player back then and as a person.
And we'll show you more of the sights and sounds here from Target Field, the best that Minneapolis has to offer, and we had our time to take part in it as well too, making fools of ourselves, because that's what we do. That's what we're best at. Yep, we are just getting started. Michelle, Christian, let's go back to you guys in Grand Rapids.
All right, thanks for that. And as those guys just mentioned, really is the best all-star game in all of Major League sports.
Yeah, it's certainly a game with a lot of history, and Mitch Fick joins us now with more on that angle.
Yeah, when you have 85 years of anything, you're going to make a lot of memories, and the MLB All-Star Game, no shortage of them. So let's take a look back at some of the best moments of the Midsummer Classic.
The very first All-Star game was at 1933 at Comiskey Park. 38-year-old Babe Ruth hitting the first home run in All-Star game history. The American League won 4-2. The game has continued every single year with the exception of 1945. The game was canceled then because of World War II. In 1949, 2 years after Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, he, along with Larry Doby, Roy Campanella, and Don Newcomb, became the first African Americans to play in the All-Star game. From 1959 to 1962, there were 2 All-Star games held each year. According to the New York Times, this was in an attempt to increase money going into the players' pension fund. After 62, it was agreed that players would receive more money for one game and the second wouldn't be played anymore. In 1970 at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, Jim Hickman singled with runners at first and second in a 4-4 game in the bottom of the 12th inning when Pete Rose collided with American League catcher Ray Fosse, winning the game for the National League, maybe the most memorable moment in the history of the All-Star Game. A year later, Tiger Stadium in Detroit was the host, and Mr. October, Reggie Jackson, hitting a mammoth home run over the roof in right field, an estimated 520 feet. In 1983, 50 years after the very first All-Star game, it was back to Comiskey Park in Chicago, and Fred Lynn, who would later play for the Tigers, hitting the first and only grand slam in the history of the Midsummer Classic. In 1999, the All-Century team was announced in Boston, and Ted Williams was greeted with a standing ovation from the city where he played his entire career. In 2002, fans voted in the final player for the first time, with Johnny Damon and Andruw Jones getting elected. Also that year came the tie that changed everything. The game was called after 11 innings, tied at 7. The next year, Major League Baseball implementing home field advantage in the World Series, going to the winner of the All-Star Game. In 2008, the longest game in All-Star history, the American League winning 4-3 in 15 innings. That game lasted 4 hours and 50 minutes. And last season, the greatest closer in baseball history, Mariano Rivera, playing his 13th and final Midsummer Classic, pitching the 8th inning for the American League.
And if history holds true, we'll have even more highlights to add to those memories after tonight. We're just hoping there's no rain delay like during the Home Run Derby last night. They had to wait an extra 50 minutes before the bombs started flying.
Yeah, of course, that could be a concern. What's the weather going to be like at Target Field tonight?
Rick's here with the answer.
The answer is there's not going to be any kind of delay tonight at Target Field. I want to start by showing you what's happening here locally. We do have a few showers left over across parts of West Michigan, but let's head out to the west, to the Twin Cities. You can see here on this radar loop, there is absolutely no rain, nor do we expect any. The forecast is actually looking pretty nice. These are Eastern time, 70 at 7, 65 at 9, and 63 by 11 o'clock tonight. You can see the winds northwest 10 to 15, letting up to 5 to 10 miles per hour. And apparently that's this direction, so that could help the Vols get a little momentum, perhaps more home runs than normal. We'll have a look much more on our forecast coming up on Fox 17 News at 10.
Thanks, Rick. Still to come on our Night with the Stars, a closer look at the All-Stars wearing the Old English D.
And not just the current crop, a look back at the Tigers' history in the Midsummer Classic.
And tonight's not just about the All-Star players. We're checking in with a West Michigan couple who could definitely be considered All-Star fans.
You're watching Fox 17's Night with the Stars.
Fox is home to the freshest and funniest stars on TV. And this fall, we have one stand-up you can't keep down.